Nigeria Now on Ekwa Television International. We're glad you could join us on another fresh episode of the show where we bring you stories as they unfold in Nigeria, detailed analysis. My name is Joyce Jakada. I'm not doing this alone. I have Sele Elisha Dashom.
Yeah,
Sele, how are you doing?
Joyce. Good afternoon.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
August visitor and me, right?
Yeah.
Sele, there has been, talking about Nigeria Now, there has been issues of killings across different states, Kaduna, Nasarawa State, Plateau, coming down to Plateau State, Riyom, and then Mangu. There has been attacks on villages, and then people being killed, farms destroyed, there are barns being burnt, and all of that. And it's just a burden. I remember that in 2015, one of the thing that the present administration, talking about Muhammadu Buhari, used to sell himself is the fact that he's going to tackle the issue of insecurity. And a lot of people gave confidence to that, like they accepted that because they felt, oh, he as a retired military officer, of course, he can do something about it. But I was asking myself the question, barely how many days now to go?
6 days.
6 days to go. Would we say that he did better, or the situation is still the same way he met it? I know we will not take away the fact that there are officers out there that actually gave their lives to ensure that Nigerians are protected, but still the issue of attacks, killing is really disheartening. Like just in Mangu of Plateau State now, over about 200 people have been killed. Now we're talking about over 1,000 houses burnt down, and we're talking about people being displaced. In fact, I saw a picture of a little girl, 8-month baby that was shot behind. The mother was killed, the father and the siblings. And like it really pains my heart that at this point where you have government, you have security, and yet attacks are going on. And the painful part is the fact that most of these attacks are already planned. I recall that sometimes last year people were sharing a post that where we had the killings in Miango, and oh, that after this we are going to so place, and we take some of these informations for granted. And on that post that people were sharing was more like, after Miango we're headed to Mangu, and it has happened. These are informations that you see and are actually taken for granted. I think one of the attacks in Kaduna State, Southern Kaduna, is the fact that it's the same thing. Like there was somebody died, and then the people there said they were coming. Even with the military checkpoint, they went, there was an attack, about 9 people were killed. So tons of attacks upon it's really disheartening.
It's disheartening because I keep telling the administration or the government or leaders the fact that they need to realize that their number one responsibility is to protect lives and property. So don't come tell us that you made flyover bridge. Don't come tell us that you made roads, because of course it is the taxpayers' money you're using to do that. It's not from your personal pocket. So of course Nigerians do not care about that. But we're talking about their properties and talking about their life. Of course Nigeria cares so much about that. And no wonder we're looking at these killings, and it's really disheartening, just like you say, and really, really painful when we are hoping to see that as this administration is fading away with just 6 days left for them, we should be seeing them rounding up and doing the best that they can. But of course, by Friday, not even 6 days anymore for me, Joyce, by Friday, they should be leaving the government house, hoping that all that needs to be done will be done for the incoming administration. And I'm just looking forward to a government that will take protection of life and property seriously. We're not just having this killing just this year. It seems as if for the past 7-8 years of this administration, we keep having killings over and over. And we talk about Benue, that almost every blessed day on our papers, we're having killings, herders versus farmers, and always we'll see farmers are being killed on their farmland. At the situation or at the time where we're hearing that there is poverty that is actually by the corner, we don't take care. So when you keep taking the lives of farmers, how do you expect Nigerians to feed at the end of the day? Why does it seem as if it looks as if we prefer one form of, like say, farming to another, or one form of living to another? Because it seems as if the herders are having the upper hand over to farmers. I think it was last year where we saw where they said there should be a ministry for the herders, and they talk about how about the farmers, what happened to them, who will speak for them at a time like this. So it's really, really disheartening, and I hope that the government is doing something about it. Of course, there's little or nothing this administration administration can do. But then we're looking into the incoming administration. What are they hoping to do? Just recently, we've heard about demolition that's been done in Bagi Vida in Kaduna, where we saw youths coming out to say that the court ruled in their favor, but yet we see that the governor of Kaduna went ahead to demolish some building, and a woman, in the process of trying to protect her house, you know, because she had a high blood pressure, and then before they could rush her to the hospital, she lost her life. And then it looks as if it seems over and over and over again, just southern Kaduna that has been attacked. And then just like we keep saying, it's a particular community, just like that. So it seems as if this has been pre-planned before this time. So we begin to ask question, what is the problem? Are we saying that security agency do not have what it takes? Are we saying that the government are actually not working as it should be? And we keep saying over and over, it seems somebody somewhere is sleeping on his or her duty, or we have snitches that are actually backing this thing up. Because of course you cannot have an outsider coming into a community without an insider there already. And that's why we keep hearing the government saying, when you see something, you see something. But above that, what can be done to protect the life of Nigerians at the end of the day? So I hope that, of course, this administration, I don't know what they can do in the next 5 days, but I'm just looking forward to a Nigeria where I can be free to go out when I want to. I want a Nigeria where you can be in your house and not be scared that you'll be attacked by anybody at the end of the day. Where's that Nigeria that you can actually stroll joys from your house down to terminals without any fear of anybody attacking you? But reverse is the case. Just, I think, a week back, I met some ladies that were testifying. They were about to be kidnapped just when I think the keke driver didn't know that they understood Hausa. And then they just saw a woman, then they flagged her and started shouting, "Auntie," they don't know her, just in a way to protect their life. So what happened if that woman was not there at that time? So we have to go beyond just saying that we are doing something. Nigerians are tired of apology. Nigerians are tired of saying we'll do something. They want you to walk the talk at the end of this. So we hope to see government that will do just that.
Someone said that governance, and which is very true. In fact, governance is about the people. But gone are the days where people travel for leisure. People travel for experience, to learn, to see things. Now, when you say you are traveling, people look at you with surprise. Oh, you want to take that risk at the detriment of your life, because, like, your security is almost not guaranteed. If people can be in their houses and they will be kidnapped, then you begin to ask, what measures have we put in place? I think governance, if governance is about the people, if democracy is saying people have the right to choose who become their leader and as at when, then let's allow that happen. Because already people are alleging, oh, could it be that some people that didn't get power are trying to do some things before they're handing over? Because why the sudden upsurge in killings across states in Nigeria? Before the elections, campaigns were going on, people were traveling left, right, and center, and then all of a sudden, just when days are being counted to the handing over, we are seeing that people are being killed. On what ground? Like, sometimes we hear people say, oh, they are not fighting the people, you are fighting the government, you're killing the innocent people. Like, it's really sad to see that even innocent soul, that, look at the baby, 8-month-old baby, shots, parent being killed, and all of that. It's just uncalled for. I think the government can still do something about it. A decision can be taken, actions can be taken, and these things. Because most of these attacks, I tell you, they are still ongoing. How can you, today there's an attack in this place, tomorrow again, and you see that about how many people are being killed, and we cannot provide the necessary equipment that these security personnel can help curb these things. How can you send a security to a place without the necessary equipment? How do you expect him to protect the people there? So I think we should be deliberate about protection of lives and property. And for people out there that are thinking, no, it has nothing to do with us, we will not talk about it, then you don't know when it's coming to you get. So we are Nigerians, and let's put humanity first. When you think it has nothing to do with you, then I think you are wrong. So when we see evil, let's fight evil. Let's not keep quiet. When the righteous are silent, then evil will continue to thrive. But when we see that, we talk about it and call the attention of the government and necessary bodies to ensure that the needful is being done, especially in the protection of lives and property. Like you said earlier, that's the primary responsibility of every government, protection of lives and property. When you fail in that, you fail in every other area. Again, Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ordered the outgoing government of President Muhammadu Buhari to account for the spending of $460 million Chinese loan to fund the failed Abuja closed-cycle television CCTV project. this has been on the news.
It has been on the news, Joyce, and it's quite sad because not only is it sad, but this is because this case has been on for more than 10 years. We're talking about going back 2009, 2010. This is when we had the issue of this Chinese loan, and where we are asking the government to account for that. You begin to ask questions when we begin to give money for certain project, and then we are having the likes of the minister telling us that she did not have information, you cannot tell us more about it. We have to go beyond just, giving money and then asking for accountability at the end of the day, because we cannot just be having projects, giving out money, and then at the end of the day, the government cannot even, come out to tell us exactly what they use this loan for. And we're talking about this loan was during the PDP regime, when the APC were asking them for the same thing. Right now, the APC is going handing over to another APC administration, and still nobody has come out to defend anything. I think people have asked the question over and over. We hear Serap saying that they sued them, because Serap was the first person or the first group that started saying they are suing them. That was far back 2010, and then till date we are still yet to have anything to come out. I hope we grow as a nation to a point where when you give money, you should give accountability for that. We're still having the issue just recently in light of talking about accountability, talking about the census that was supposed to hold in May, yet nothing has been done. We're asking for accountability of 200 billion naira, Joyce. So each time you see money being disbursed, given to a particular agency, being used for a particular project, we're talking about even the Asu Vida Health Clinic, that even people are complaining that the outgoing president never even used the facility, and yet money was being used to do that. So you begin to ask questions, what is wrong with us? Somebody asked the question, who do us? You begin to ask questions like, we need to go to a point whereby it's not all about saying our leaders do this, but then I am happy that followers are beginning to know their power, and we're beginning to ask questions, what happened to this? Of course, it's right now in the court, and we are hoping that the judiciary will do the right thing by Nigerians by actually asking accountability. We're not talking about 460 million naira, we're talking about $460 million, Joyce. We're still having issue with $800 billion, the $800 billion loan that till date we're having people saying they shouldn't give it to the federal government, because what are you intending to do with this loan? All the loan that have been collected, we're yet to see the infrastructure that you say you use most of this loan to do. So I'm just hoping that we don't just sweep this under the carpet like every other case where we hear Sarah suing the government for a particular thing and then nothing is being done after that. It makes it to the paper and then nothing whatsoever is being heard after that. So we hope that before this administration will fade out, we are not hoping to see this case going to another 8 years again, because that will be making it over. Talking about 16 years or so, still talking about the same money in a situation where Nigeria is on the red alert, where we don't even have the money for particular things to run in the country. So I'm hoping to see something being done. Let the finance minister give Nigeria the breakdown of what was done to that money. Let us have information. Let everybody know what is happening. With that, we'll be able to see accountability and track record to look at this is what this money was used for. Is the CCTV working? What have been used so far? So I think this is just the way we have to move in Nigeria. If only we want to move forward, then I think it's high that we have accountability for every penny we spend for a particular project.
Well, Stella, the issue of loan is one that has been a burden to many Nigerians, especially when you think of the coming generation, when you think of posterity, you begin to wonder what happens. And a lot of people have expressed concern, how do the next generation pay up all these loans, all these debts? Nigerians keep on collecting loan, and like you ask questions about money that comes in. At the end of the day, it almost looks like we're using revenue, we're using loans to service loans.
6% of our revenue, Joyce.
So you begin to ask, so what are we living for? You get. So I think this call by the Federal High Court is timely, and one of the essence of governance, or I think one thing that is fundamental in governance, is accountability. We've always maintained that if the point of change is the point of taking responsibility, this loan was taken as way back as 2010. And then it was in 2019 that Sarah sued the federal government, asking questions, asking about that money. They should give breakdown, accountability, and all of that. Look at how long it took. Look at how long. And no wonder a lot of people tell you, oh, I don't have confidence in our judiciary. Sometimes you will go in, file a suit, but before judgment is being done, you will take as long as deal, I don't know, the issue at hand becomes obsolete. And well, the good thing is that, well, an order has been given. Let's hope that every agency that is concerned will put their hands together to ensure that the right thing is being done. Like we're talking about a project, we collected $460 million for CCTV, like in Abuja. And as far as, according to Serap, these are failed projects. Because when the Minister of Finance was invited by the House of Representatives, we're talking about Zainab Ahmed was invited, and then asked questions about the state of that project. According to her, she doesn't know. She doesn't have any information as regards the status of the CCTV project. And I asked myself, you are servicing a loan of a project you don't know the status. No, this is, for me, it's not responsible of the Minister of Finance, because you should have every information. Questions were asked. The House of Representatives actually invited her, and then questions were asked about the $460 million loan that Nigeria is paying, and the state of the project. Well, in her response, she said she doesn't know the status of the project. As she speaks, information about the contractors and all were not given. And the money you're using is the money that belongs to Nigerians to serve it, and you cannot explain to them what you are using the money for. I like the fact that the House of Representatives were able to address this issue, because they are there to protect the people. They are there to speak on behalf of the people. And when you see issues like that, or when you see situations like that, you keep quiet at it, then you're not being like a leader. You're not standing for the people, because we cannot be funding or servicing loan that we cannot even point our fingers to say, oh, this is the project, oh, this is how we spent it, this is the company we paid for. And that is what the court is actually asking for, that the name of the companies or the contractors to whom the money was paid for should be published. Like, they should give details. The money should be accounted for. And I think this is not just about the CCTV project in Abuja. It should cut across every other money. Every year in, year out, we have budgets, we have budget allocations, and at the end of the day, you don't get any report. And some people just sit down there when monies are being allocated to certain ministries, parastatals, they just share among themselves, you hear nothing. So let's begin to ask questions. Until we start asking questions, holding our leaders accountable, then things will keep going on wrong. And like I always say, people need to get to the point of reducing the expectations of some of these politicians, because when they assume office, people keep going, oh, can you give us this, can you give us this, can you give us this? At the end of the day, they give you the money and they don't do projects that you're entitled to. So let's reduce our expectation and begin to hold these people accountable. They should not rest until they account for every penny. Some of these people are there collecting money on your behalf and doing nothing. So we should get to the point that we'll see wrong and say, this is wrong, this is right, this is right. What is governance about? Protecting the interests of the people. When you do that, posterity will clap for you. Everybody will be happy, will celebrate you. You have written your name in history. But today you just find out people just go vie for positions just for personal interest, accrue like wealth on themselves, their families, and that is just it. Let's continue to hold our leaders accountable, and we will continue to follow up on this story to see like the end of it. As it is already, the court has already given an order. Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has already ordered the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, that have barely six days right now to actually account for spending that $460 million and on the field, according to Serap, as far as they're concerned, because if we don't know the status of the project, we cannot point fingers to the project. It is actually a failed Abuja closed cycle television project. So we hope that the needful is being done.
Well, Joyce, if you ask me, I don't think it's wrong to expect from our leaders. I mean, when I go to ask you for money, I am not putting a knife on your neck to give me anything. But then I think it is a responsibility of the leaders to let their followers know that I want to do something. Why don't you give me a time frame and see what I will do? Now, Joyce, this is just one out of many other projects that we are having that we cannot really account for. Now, only God knows how many more projects do we have that we're servicing the loan that we have no idea whatsoever about. So I'm hoping that this should be an eye-opener, just like you said. Let us have accountability. I found out a story when I saw Akpabio saying on the paper that Nigerians should not judge him based on past experience when he was working in the Buhari, administration. I was like, we will judge you based on that, of course, because when you're talking about track record, Joyce, look at what have they done before and what are you capable of bringing to the table. Because leadership is not just about picking somebody from somewhere that don't know anything about leadership whatsoever. We're looking at what have you done so far. No wonder all of these politicians that came are telling us when I was one time a governor, when I was a vice. So we're looking at your track record. So I'm hoping that even as this incoming administration is going to be appointing ministers, they should please just take a good look at the track record of these ministers before you give them, so that we know who we are working with on the cabinet, because the president cannot be everywhere. He needs his ministers, he needs various agencies to work together with. So we hope not to see such things again, talking about failed projects and then paying the loan that we have no idea whatsoever about.
Nigeria must work.
Course.
It is our nation, and we must ensure that we do the needful and the right thing. So we await the disclosure of information and specific documents on the total amount of money paid to contractors from the $460 million loan obtained in 2010 from China to fund the apparently failed Abuja closed cycle television project, and failure to name the contractors involved and explain why the government continued to repay that loan. That is what Nigerians are asking for. Time is not on our side, and we need to dot our I's and close our T's. Thank you, Sele, for doing this with me. Great analysis as always. Until we come your way tomorrow, same time, you have a blessed day. Bye-bye.